Bonjour Silvermont, je m'appelle Troublemaker. C'est the Wargame Cup 2012, and that's all the French I know. Half of it was probably wrong. Alright, so today we're looking at a match from the Wargame Cup, round 2. And this is going to be the last one that I'll be doing for round 2. And this is from the NATO player, Caesar1211. Possibly the year in which he was Caesar, of course, in the Dark Ages. And we have our red pack player, Belly'lun2. So it's Belly'lun2. Belly'lun2. It's a good Russian name. Belly'lun2. Alright, we can call it Belly and Caesar. And it's been a pretty good round. Quite a few no-shows, but the round 3 will it just gets better and better. It's, as far as I can see it, the game gets more and more interesting, and we see both players are actually deploying units on both fronts, interestingly enough. And let's see what these guys have in store for us. We see a big gunship helicopter, doesn't have the pairing of the recon, which usually pairs off with this, and we see lots of infantry parking in randomly good forced locations, and his opponent doing roughly the exact same thing, except using a lot of these patent tanks, very expensive, especially for this early in the game, and just spreading out a lot of staticky defense type units like these anti-aircraft, and just these patents. And so we see the first engagement is going to happen right here as these Scots loaded full of multiple Strelkeys. Looks like they might get gunned down by the tanks. The tanks are an odd choice on something you expect. Actually, it's Spadokonarskis. Oh my god. And they're pushing forward. They're going to run into a Legion, unfortunately, and an AMX 10B. There's probably enough here to take care of this. It looks like late deployment will hinder numbers, and actually there's a Jupiter here as well resupplying this force. Surprisingly enough, he's actually able to do a lot more damage than I thought, and this patent here, these two patents, can actually be at risk. There is some early artillery fire here. Whoa. Caesar has 4 artillery. That's a crazy amount. And he's pounding this location, just trying to... Actually, he's not pounding that location. He's pounding over here, not even looking at this. He's got a lot of things moving up. These patents are kind of in a sketchy position. They could just instantly die from these Spadokonarskis, if they were to move up, that is. FJBs have been rotated, moving out, and it's just a nice little positioning from Caesar, except for these weird patents in the woods. The Spadokonarskis have mostly been shut down, as a lot of these units are going to be retreating and repositioning. So let's look at the breakdown of the map. Let's see, we have 3 bases taken by Caesar, and we can see the very common Hotel India pathway taken by Belly'lun. The score is not that big of a difference. It's 6-6 basically as far as resources go, but of course Belly'lun will have more resources. One of the patents did in fact die there, and it reflects a little bit in the score. Not too big a difference, and it'll actually get even closer as this FJB 40 does in fact go down. Nice little recon infantry unit. Boom. Caesar taking a moderate lead. Caesar can continue gunning down these infantry. Yeah. Gonna definitely make good use of this one patent. The other patent kind of just died in vain, but this patent looks like he's gonna pay off. And kind of slow action. But looking at the map here, we can see that blue doesn't actually have that many units, and it looks like he'll be playing relatively defensively, hence why he's got the armored patent tanks as opposed to something like an Abrams or what's the other tanks that NATO have? NATO has other tanks. Come on now. I can't remember any more tanks. But we do see a Bertino on the map. Of course, this map is very good for artillery fire and Bertinos. Just pounding this middle location is always worthwhile. And lots of infantry deployed here for Belly'lun, kind of standard to deploy a lot of infantry in middle, and of course the artillery will counter that. So kind of an interesting little twist. The Bertino's very close range artillery unit, and looks like it's trying to move up to do something. Caesar's got a few problems, some holes in his defense. This position here has no defense at all. This one has just a handful of units, and this one has the artillery, and that's about it. The double FOB here for the fact that he's going to be using a lot of supply on just non-stop artillery fire, which could pay off considering how passive this game is. We do see a Havoc and a Recon helicopter, the power combo, moving around the map. The Havoc's actually at low on ammunition, so let's see what it's going to try and do. Keep in mind, looks like an Amex Roland or two is getting rallied here by Caesar, and I'm wondering if he's going to try and move forward and take Delta. That would be interesting to see. Of course, as right now, there is no Amex Roland here. The Roland is on the way. There they are. Actually, lots of Rolands coming out. Rolands, of course, are generally the very favored anti-aircraft unit for NATO. Not just on this map, but just overall, because just how darn good they pay out. Now, what exactly can Belly'lun see here? Nothing right now. There is a big cache unit. What's here? Oh, he can now see the pattern. He starts winding up. He might get this one for cheap. He doesn't have a lot of rockets really available. He's low on ammunition. He gets the pattern. He's moving very, very close. Oh my god, no, it's in the EMX-10P! And lots of units here. Oh no. Might lose this unit. Looks like it is retreating just in time. And it does get away. A lot of blowpipes here as well. Not really in the best position. Anti-aircraft should be along the edges the best to get a better line of sight. And the Lod blowpipe is actually quite devastating. Could take down this Havoc. Very, very scary. There aren't many of them. It's a very small squad. And he's not targeting down the Lod blowpipe. He luckily survives. Lod blowpipe, of course, not a very good anti-aircraft unit. Has very weak anti-aircraft scores. And is a very low point unit. So something happened over here where most of the blue units got cleared out. That's interesting. And it looks like, period, just most of the blue units are dead. So Belly'lun just massively outplaying his opponent here. You got a single SPO 60 PB rushing into the woods. Looks like he's going to get down. And it does. Lots of units in the woods here. FJBs are deployed and out, and they will get down. A little bit something going on here. Nope, nothing going on there. Back to these poor FJBs. Forced to retreat. Might get a couple shots off. Got one shot off at the Spartan. Nothing really powerful enough to destroy anything though, unfortunately. And looks like they're rooted in position, which is an awkward, weird thing to say. They're running away while standing still. Is basically what it is. I have no idea what country this this FJB is from. And what would JB even stand for? Federation of Jolly Brothers? They don't look too happy. I don't see any smiles here. Look how snaky these guys are, just lying down in the woods. Oh, now the Spartan is actually coming out to chase. And looks like he will get this little squad. We have a little bit of action in the middle here. Another SPO coming forth. Could actually drop here and just destroy this group of Lod blowpipes. And oh my god, looks like he's going to take this MD Jupiter as well. The FJB 40 deployed. The floppy Jolly Brothers are on the move. And can he get this Jupiter? Looks like he's in range of it. It's very peculiar. Will he get it? I don't understand why it's not changing hands. That's weird. It should have by now. There's some fire on the map. I think it's still, yes, it's back. Still this single Spartan carrier chasing down this FJB. And now that we're at the Spartan division, we can kind of look at the nice pattern that has been selected for this particular unit. It's a Ripley one. Speaking of which, the FJBs are actually going to do something else. They're going to try and wipe out this Legion here. Of course, the Legion, much better unit than the FJB. And it looks like the FJB will in fact get squashed. I'm still bewildered by this Jupiter hasn't switched hands yet. It's right on top of the enemy. The enemy's nowhere near. So minor win here for Caesar, taking that little position. It's a weird thing that there's so few units on the map right now for Caesar, and you know, he hasn't actually lost that many. Just the units he has on the map right now are not particularly useful for any sort of push. And he is defending a lot of these pushes very, very well though. So it looks like we see more infantry, a few tanks, T-55, the cheap ones, even more infantry piling out, and I'm guessing Caesar's strategy for staying in this game is just going to be non-stop artillery fire on middle. It's smart on this map. These 4 artillery save back quite a bit early on in the game, but they do pay out over time. We have 2 AMX tanks here. Looks like they're running to this Belly'lun2, unfortunately, and this could be a very big win if they only moved to intercept it, but the tanks do die. So pretty big win there for Belly'lun, who is getting more and more ahead. We see lots of infantry, some anti-tank weapons, these BTR-70 Zolos, anti-aircraft, the Tunguskas, and this looks like a standard push army, because the Tunguskas, on top of being very good against air, are also relatively good against infantry. And, you know, they're mobile. We have a Buratino Blast actually wiping out quite a bit there. Kind of scary, actually, how that happened. A few units moving up from Caesar in this position. Not really sure what's coming, but looks like he's actually just going to use these units to position off this corner here to secure this location. And actually, you know, while I wasn't looking, Belly'lun actually took another base, and that's why he's moving up all these units to secure. He's not very secure in pushing forward and just winning the game right now, because he took another base. He took another base to get himself way ahead. And keep in mind, the game is still 20-ish minutes long. Speaking of which, lots of helicopters coming out. And, you know, not that much anti-aircraft here. The new Tunguskas have been added, but there is a large array of non-coverage that these Tunguskas cannot cover for. So, these Gazelles look like they could have some sting to them. Non-stop artillery fire. Another command. Is that a 4th command for Belly'lun? I guess rubbing into his opponent. He's got the close reinforcement point. Thus, while his units are here, the Tunguskas actually run out of anti-aircraft rounds, moving forward to try and snipe its more infant units, but is pulling back. Desperately needs these Colos. The Colos attack units. And the Buratino is probably going to fire right here, I bet. Long line of time, and it moves. Artillery fire is just getting too good. Belly'lun maintaining a very good lead, and oddly enough, not really just wanting to end it, looking to stay in longer. Now, this is a good place. I like this. Buratino fire followed up with an infantry drop, and what this does is it stuns everything, and then the Spadockonarski just can easily wipe everything out, which he did. So that position is now gone, and looks like we see a massive defensive shell being created by Caesar along this flank, realizing that trouble's coming. Speaking of a ridiculous number of helicopters, all split up with a recon, this could actually do a lot of damage, considering that there's no anti-aircraft right here. You can actually get the command and the artillery with a small group of units, and will he is the question. I suspect yes. And I'll go to the Belly'lun vision. He spots the FOB. He spots the second phase. He's spotting the 4 artillery. This would be huge. That would give him how much? 340 point lead. If he can get all these crazy artillery gun, and they are stunned. They are unable to retreat. This could be a problem. Now they're finally moving while stunned. That's awkward. And trying to get out, but the recon is actually going to be the big difference here. And actually, if you look at this, Caesar has actually been spending his money on commands to get more positions along that. In fact, I don't even know where the command is for this one, but he has it. Oh, it's because on the Belly'lun vision. He still doesn't see the command's course, and he's just trying to get down these propelled artillery, which are very vulnerable. And we see this FJB in the open is getting swarmed by Yaggers, which are trying to form a nice flank heading north. Very interesting game. 2 players playing very differently, very different styles. The helicopters might have finally seen this poor command, just hovering over it. It doesn't take much to hit these non-armored commands either. They die relatively quickly. And nope, he's actually going to target down the artillery here. There is a Spartan moving up, and oh, here comes the anti-aircraft. 6 Roland's deployed, and all of them have been destroyed with absolutely no losses. So great defense here by Caesar1211, keeping himself in the game, keeping himself strong, and doing a very odd tactic compared to what you expect. He's going for the outer rim, creating multiple areas which he can attack from, whereas Belly'lun is going for a more standard path, of which would involve first taking the middle and then cutting the map to a corner. So he only has to defend a corner of the map. And you can kind of see the value of this. If you defend a corner, you get this corner, right? And that means that the other guy has to destroy a much larger service area. So it looks like these aircraft are in fact all going to go down from Belly'lun. These Roland's just too good. He's going to have to go back to the drawing board and really figure out what he's going to do with this army of his. Still a very big lead. In fact, maybe because Belly'lun cut him off at this location here and forced this very large flank that Belly'lun has to deal with, maybe this put him into his opposition where he's actually forced to take these outskirts. Could be possible. But it's an 8 points for the NATO player, and for Belly'lun he's got 11 points coming every 5 seconds. So this is shaping up to be a very large macro game in which in the last few minutes it will explode. Belly'lun still going with these infantry. Looks like he's going to try and push a few infantry forward. AMX Roland, of course, has the rockets, so it cannot actually attack infantry. Here we go. The deployment is done. The Rolands will go down. Another one is pushing into the woods. Oh, it gets caught just before it can get to the command. And everything's cleaned up, but the Rolands are now down, making this base once again very vulnerable to aircraft. This one, of course, has lots of AMX Roland still. But lots of helicopters for Belly'lun as well. So it's very smart to hit the target down all these AMX Rolands as they continue to push forward and move around the map, trying to cover as much ground as possible. And we actually see, whoa, Buratino stunned. A little bit of a push here from Caesar. Looks like it's been shot down, and we have a lot of units moving on foot to try and snipe some of these units. The Tunguska is also being pulled out. Tunguska, of course, very good against the infantry. And we also see 3 T-55 AM-1 tanks moving up along the side, trying to get in and do whatever damage they can. Everything's kind of blowing up right now. High macro games do this. It looks like this location was a victim of a gunship helicopter. And these infantry carriers are desperately trying to chase us down, trying to get some lucky shots off. The AMX Roland has actually been stunned and is retreating, which is unfortunate. And it looks like this helicopter can actually get a lot more damage done than it otherwise would. Sorry about that, I foolishly hit the Windows key. Yes, the Windows key. I grabbed the microphone and I yelled into it. He's doing it! But he didn't. A little bit of a push here by Caesar, using a lot of tanks, a lot of infantry vehicles. Got the Rolands up front as well. And this push looks like it might have some strength. Pattons are winding up in the back. Of course, all he has to defend here are some T-55s, which are, of course, not the best bet for anything. These are your fodder tanks. They are designed for one purpose. Well, a surplus from World War II, of course. This push from Caesar continues to move up as the T-55s are on the retreat. We see some helicopters supporting from the distance here, and looks like he's going to run right into his FJB. Actually quite lucky because infantry vehicles do quite well against infantry, and presume that is actually going to get shut down pretty fast. The AMXs are rooted though. However, the Pattons looks like they will kill off this FJB squad, and they do. The AMX Roland not effectively targeting down this aircraft. Kind of a problem right now for Caesar, who is really trying to get these T-55s. And it looks like finally a rocket going off at the Havoc, but the Roland is stunned. And it looks like the Havoc will live to fight another day. Kills one of the Rolands, and the Roland's finally charging up. He might get the other one if it's just in time, and he does. He gets all the Rolands, so now there's no anti-aircraft, and these units are pinned. There's another small flank of Legion on foot and AMX 30B main battle tanks moving into position to try and do something And this is just desperation from him. He's moving all of his units forward in all directions. He's got a very large group of tanks going into an infantry-infested woods. He has some anti-infantry vehicles here, but not too many. And he's also pushing up here on this side here, trying to do whatever he can, just every flank, because there's only 8 minutes left, and very obviously Belly'lun is in the lead and has a resource gain. He might actually be able to take this middle at high cost, and I'm not sure the cost will be worth it, just because he's going to lose possibly some tanks here. These Spadokarnevskis are actually on the move, just trying to pick up whatever they can and trying to obscure their vision the best they can from vehicles. It looks like they might actually get this pattern if the windup completes and miss. Well, that's something. There are some Spadokarnevskis over here as well they'll run into, and we can see this squad here has in fact been cleaned up. Over here, all cleaned up. A lot of these forced moves are not working out. The only one that's really working out is the one in the middle, which is devastating. He's actually deploying a lot of infantry fighting vehicles, possibly also carrying infantry to try and deal with this. And now we see a Spadokarnevski versus not one, but 2 infantry fighting vehicles. The Patton joins the fray. We also have the Chinook helicopter hovering overhead, waiting to reinforce. But of course, you can only reinforce, or you can only resupply with helicopters in a big open field. They do not like landing in forests, I hear. It looks like this squad of Spadokarnevskis actually has some legs and is actually wiping out this entire army. Kind of scary. More Legion moving to try and help take this position. The Patton is routed. Both Pattons are routed. The Spadokarnevskis almost out of ammunition though. And suddenly Belly'lun comes to a big lead as Caesar seemingly has thrown away most of his forces trying to make some small gains. So without further ado, I think we can officially declare the winner of this match is actually, without any persecution or any injustice to all, Belly'lun, who is now resecuring this middle location, deploying a lot of infantry units. And unfortunately these infantry fighting vehicles will not be enough. We have Legion going to run right into a group of Moto Streliki and it'll die. Leopard 2A4 coming into the fray with an Amex in support. That's not much of a desperation vehicle. That's a I'm rich vehicle, because these are quite the expensive unit, I believe. Yeah, 145 each. Oh, and that is dead. Killed off by tank destroyers and tanks. Some days I wonder if this person's purposely trying to lose at this point. Just throwing those units. Oh, we have some chieftains. Here's another NATO tank. But of course there are some havocs here, causing mayhem, just firing rockets off at that location, picking off whatever tanks it can. And kind of a crappy situation here for Caesar, who's running out of AA, and all the while Belly'lun is charging up on aircraft wherever he can. And I guess we're out of time for the day. Advancing to round 3 is Belly'lun2, and we'll see more great matches for him. So my name has been Troublemaker. This is the end of my round 2 coverage. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. And as soon as round 3 begins, I'll be... boom. Well, there we go. That's a good snap. I'll be on it. I feel retarded for not being able to snap.